When kids have meltdowns or they shut down or they come up with those big emotions, as parents, many of us might find it very difficult or very challenging to manage their big emotions. In fact, some of us become frustrated and we react to their emotions rather than responding. I want to let you know that if you're a parent watching this, you are not alone. I want to let you know that what your child really needs is not perfection with their emotion. They need emotional intelligence. So, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you wonderful, amazing tips and strategies about how to manage your children's big emotions so that at the end of the day, you don't just raise smart children, you raise emotionally intelligent children. So, stay tuned. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Purpose Driven Marriage, where we model kingdom marriage and help you align with God's purpose for your marriage. I'm Blessing Ekundayo, and you can see my husband is not here, but I'm sharing this on our behalf. So feel free to like, share, leave us a comment, and we would love to respond later on. I'm going to share with you how I raise emotionally intelligent children, emotionally intelligent sons. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you interesting examples of how I raise my sons and how I'm still raising my sons to be emotionally intelligent. So number one is I help them recognize and label their emotions. So there are times that I will find my sons, reacting, feeling frustrated or whatever it is, towards or about something that has happened, about a situation. For example, there's a time I saw my son, we had just finished the game of football and they lost the game. Their team lost the game, unfortunately. And he got into the car and very much unlike him, he was moody, he was just quiet. And so how I helped him label that emotion was I was like, oh, Shimlori, how are you feeling? And then he didn't say anything. I said, you must be feeling very sad. You must be feeling very disappointed. It's like, I'm angry. He's like, yes, right. So he labeled that emotion. I can see that you're feeling, yes, you look like you're feeling very angry. Do you want to talk about it? And it was like, I don't like how the referee, cheated us. The referee was not fair. And then he went on and on. So helping him to label that emotion was a way for him to be able to express himself, was a way to be able for him to be able to vent appropriately. So I could see he was feeling angry, he was feeling sad, he was feeling disappointed, whatever it is, I labeled that emotion. Sometimes it could be them feeling upset. I could sometimes I could see sometimes, there was a time that I saw my son, one of my other son, feeling very frustrated. I was like, oh, Farah, you're looking very frustrated. I can see they're feeling very frustrated that you could, because you're not able to solve that maths problem. Is that correct? And I was like, I said, would you like me to help you? And then we worked through it together. So when you're able to help them label that emotion and talk about it, it really goes a long way. It goes a long way to be able to make them feel like mom can see me, mom can hear me, mom understands, how I feel. If you have a child who is maybe like a toddler, or who doesn't really know how to really express themselves right with the right emotions, they don't have the ability to be able to use the right words, like, I feel embarrassed, I feel ashamed, I feel all of this, you could have a chat, you could print off from Google, different pictures of different emotions. So you see a smiley face, an angry face, a whatever, a sad face, whatever it is, you would show this chat to the child. I'm like, okay, point at how you are feeling. Like, this is how I feel, it means that they're feeling angry, or they're feeling happy, or they are feeling whatever it is, disappointed. That helps them to be able to communicate how they feel, rather than having them bottle up their emotions, or bottle up, whatever is causing them distress or making them feel dysregulated at that time. So when you can, or when they can label it, when you can help them label the emotions, then you can help them walk through that emotion together. So I hope this helps. So number one is I help them recognize and label the emotions. Number two is validate, don't dismiss. So I help them validate their emotions. I don't dismiss them. It's important that you validate the emotions that your child is feeling. And validating their emotions doesn't mean that you are agreeing with them. It just means that you're telling them that their emotion makes sense. So you're feeling angry, it makes sense. I get it. I get you. You may not necessarily agree with why they are angry, but you are telling them that I get it. I understand how you're feeling, and it's okay for you to have these emotions, So for example, I remember when I asked my boys that their father was turning 40, and I wanted them to write a tribute and say it by heart, on his birthday party. On that day while we're celebrating him, and they felt like, Mom, how many people are going to be there? Like about 150 people. Like, what? You mean you're gonna be there? I can't talk in front of 150 people. That's a lot of people. And I could have said, what's the big deal? There's no big deal. I mean, for a parent, for someone like me, it's not a big deal. But for them, that's a lot. That's huge. That's massive. Come to talk in front of this amount of people. So I said, yeah, that must. I know it must be nerve-wracking for you to go before 150 people to talk to them. I know it must be quite hard. It's very hard. I totally understand. So what can I do to support you? And then we talked about different ways I could work with them and help them. I even offered to stand with them while they are saying it, but that's by the way. The point is, I'm able to validate their feelings in that moment. The feeling of anxiety, the feeling of uncertainty, the feeling of, oh, can I do this? I can do this. I'm scared. Whatever it is that they're feeling, I validated those emotions. So it could also be, there are times when my son, they don't like beans. Beans is my own best friend, but they don't like beans. In fact, they don't want to hear we're eating beans. Like, what? They begin to complain and moan and I'm like, So on the day of beans, yeah, I would hear all sorts of things about why are we eating beans? Can we eat this? And rather than get upset, and get angry and mad at them because they are, not wanting to cooperate with eating beans this night or something, how I validate their emotions, guys, I get it. I know that beans is one of your least favorite things to eat in this world. I get it, but that's what mom can offer us today, and we can eat fish and chips, or we can eat whatever it is that you want to eat, and we can eat another time. But today we'll be eating beans. But I get how you feel. I know that you don't like beans, and if you had a choice, you will not eat beans. So in that, just saying that I get it, I know you don't like it, I know you're not happy about us eating beans, I'm validating their emotions. I'm not dismissing it. Some of us parents will be like, what was wrong with you? Don't be angry. You don't, I just say, when I was like you, when I was a child, I didn't even have an option. We didn't have food to eat. You are invalidating how they feel. In Nigeria, some children don't have food to eat, and you go blah 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 blah. You're just saying blah blah blah. They are not in Nigeria. My children were not born in Nigeria. They cannot get it. I don't think they will ever get it. So I cannot begin to preach to them about how people are suffering, blah blah blah. They cannot understand. But what I can help them, what can make them really what I can show to them that would make them realize that mommy understands how we feel about this issue of beans when it comes to food is expressing that to them, that I get it, not going to rant and saying all sorts of things. I'm just letting them know they don't, I don't care about how they feel. So when we communicate to our children like that, we are not communicating right to them, and if we don't care about how they feel, we are also raising children who will live in hurts, who would live in pain, and if they are not careful, they will also live the way we have taught them indirectly, not to validate other people's emotions, and that's not okay. So let's not say things like, you're overreacting, you'll be fine, go and sit down, don't be sad, that's not helpful. Let's validate and not dismiss their emotions. So that's number 2. Number 3, teach them emotional regulation. I teach my children emotional regulation. That's the third thing I do. I teach them emotional regulation. And how do I do this? So for example, say something has happened, I help them to regulate. I help whoever is having issues to regulate. And I want to tell you something. Don't just tell your children to go and do the drawing, go for a walk, go and do this, go and do that. No, the first thing you need to do with your children is help them regulate by co-regulating with them, co-regulating the emotions with them. So you see that they're having, like, maybe the boys are fighting, like how how I see my boys sometimes having an argument and things like that. For example, if it's my son, if I see my sons have an argument, or I hear my younger son raising his voice at his older brother, which sometimes happens, I could be like, Farmi, what's going on, what's happening between you and your brother, and I can see that he's upset, he's angry, or he's crying and things like that. I can be like, I know his brother will be like, yes, so I try to meddle things, and the voice of the person who I'm hearing loudest, I take that person away, and I be like, okay, what can we do to help you calm down? I know that Fromi likes to throw aeroplanes. We have hips, so should we fly aeroplanes together? Should we go for a walk together? Should we watch a movie together? Things like that. Help them correlate. Should we do whatever it is they like to do together? Should we draw together? Let's do a drawing. Show me how you feel with your drawing. So that helps to help them feel calm, it distracts them away from what is happening or what has happened, and with time, when they feel better, you can now talk about what happened. So you train them by, you teach them how to regulate their emotions by, first of all, co-regulating the emotions with them. For example, if it's a child or a toddler, like, oh, let's wiggle this madness together. You shake. Okay, wiggle like a spaghetti. Also you just do something silly together, or like you can do like a race. Let's see who's gonna come, or get down from the stairs the fastest, and quickly run, you do activities that will help them feel calm and take the distraction, distract them. It could be teaching them, let's take a deep breath in, out. You help them to calm, pretty much. So do activities together will help them calm. If it's a teenager that likes to bake, or like whatever it is, help them, do it with them. And with time, when you've trained them in that way, then you can now tell them, would you like to draw? They can go and do that. Would you like to go for a walk? Would you like to count 1 to 10? Would you like, whatever it is, just to help them feel calm. And once they feel calm, you can now have a conversation with them about what happened. So for example, going back to the example of my son, I see them arguing, and he's angry, something about the TV. He's not letting me watch the TV. He's holding the remote control. I hear those kind of things sometimes. And I'm like, okay, so I call him. If he feels good now, after flying the plane, or after, taking deep breaths, and we've done the calm exercises together. And I'm like, so Farmi, what happened between you and your brother? He's like, Mom, I'm not happy with him. He's just holding remote control. I just want to watch my favorite movie or my favorite program on TV, and blah blah blah. It's because he's older than me. He's acting like he's cheating me, and blah blah blah. All those kind of brotherly arguments and annoyance. I'm like, okay, so what do you want us to do? What do you want me to do? Mommy, punish him. Mommy, punish him for that. He needs to be punished. I'm like, okay, I can see that you are not happy. You're not happy about what your brother did to you. Do you want to talk to him about how you feel? How I can support you by coming with you, and then we can talk about it together. So you find a way of trying to mediate, the trouble, the challenge that they had or that happened. At the end of the day, you've helped him regulate the emotion, you've helped him calm down, and you can walk through the situation that happened together. So that's really beautiful, isn't it? God will help us as parents. It's not easy, but even us, we need to also regulate ourselves so that we can regulate them. Yeah. So that's what this is, then reflect on what has happened after you have helped the child to regulate. Now, number 4 is I set boundaries with compassion. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it's not about, just getting away with anything and everything. It doesn't mean that you cannot put boundaries in place. When it means that you've got to be firm, but while still being compassionate, while being kind. For example, when a child becomes emotionally dysregulated, it doesn't mean that they can now do anything they want to bang the door, you can call people names, you can shout, you can yell, you can hit people. No. So I'll tell my boys, it's okay to be angry, but what we should not do and we must not do is that we must not hit each other. We must not be rude to daddy. We must not be rude to mommy. We must not, call you must not call each other names. So that boundary is firm and it is there. Yeah, I know you're angry and it's okay to be angry. I mean, there is no anger is an emotion. Frustration is an emotion. It's okay, but what we must not do is act based on that emotion negatively. So you should not hit your brother because you're angry. It is not okay. We need to find safe ways to manage our emotions, right? So that's we have to put boundaries in place while still being compassionate, and we're the ones that will help those children. So still be firm. Still be firm. You can't say because I was angry I slapped him. No, we don't slap. We don't slap. And I hope that you too don't slap as a parent, because you're indirectly teaching them to slap. So this is very important when we are helping our kids, to be emotionally intelligent. We must learn to set boundaries, and still be compassionate with them. I tell my boys, if it's 8 o'clock is our bedtime, it's their bedtime. No matter what you are doing, 8 o'clock is bedtime. So if you're watching it on days of screen time days, on screen days, if it's 8 o'clock, that's it. Mom, but I want to finish watching it. Oh, it's only 15 minutes. Guys, 8 o'clock is our bedtime. I know that you really want to watch it, but when another when is your next screen day, you're going to continue watching what you want to watch. Now I'm gonna pray with you and you're going to go to bed. End of story. No stories at all. That's it. That's settled. I'm firm. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. I say it nicely, gentle parenting. So that's it. I don't want to stress myself, guys. Show TV is bedtime. It's okay to be firm, while raising our children. And the last thing is, I model emotional intelligence myself. And this is not easy, but I do my best. I remember yesterday, just yesterday, I had taken them for soccer, the game. It was very stressful out very early in the morning. And I was coming back and I just felt like all the drivers on the road, it's like one was doing road rage, one was doing road bully, one person was slow. And every single time I found myself complaining about them. Like, why is this driver so slow? Why is this person just this? Why is that person just... And immediately I caught myself and I just told myself, and the boys were there in the car, it was just the three of us. I just told myself, I said it out loud. I see that I'm feeling very frustrated by all the drivers today and I'm just complaining. So I'm going to take a deep breath in, I'm going to calm myself down and I'm going to zip it, I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to throw it away. And one of the things that the boys normally say is zip it, lock it, and throw it in your pocket, more like when you want to be quiet. So they said that with me and we all laughed about it. But the point is, in that moment, I was teaching them emotional intelligence myself. So I was labeling my own emotions. That was frustration, and I was calming myself down also in that moment, and they were seeing it, and that was it. I didn't complain again after it. So in other words, we are the ones that are going to teach our children. They're going to see, we're going to model the emotional intelligence that we want them to practice. So it's very important. For example, your child tells a lie, and so instead of you realize that they've told a lie, instead of you shouting like, why would you tell a lie, and you just go on and on and on, you could say something like, what, I'm angry that you have told a lie. I feel disappointed that you lied to me, but I'm going to go shower, or I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to go for a walk to calm down, and then after we're going to have a chat about it, we're going to talk about it. That way you're teaching them that when you're angry, it's not the time to talk. You can go and calm down and then you talk about it later, because that's how they will also respond when they have situations like that, with their friends, with their peers. And as they grow up, we are teaching them to be emotionally intelligent. So that is what I have for you today, how I raise my sons to be, or how I'm raising my sons to be emotionally intelligent. And I'm still, I'm not perfect yet. Sometimes I still fall short, but I keep, being intentional. And that's what I want to encourage you. Start where you are. You're not a bad parent for failing at times. You keep working on yourself and keep modeling that to them. And you realize that, we are building those blocks. And by God's grace, we're going to raise amazing, amazing, amazing kids. So Thank you so much for watching me up until now. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to this beautiful channel. We have lots of videos for you on this channel. God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful time. Take care. Bye.